Yay Media Group.
Hey guys, it's Stephanie.
I'm Trey.
This is your weekly dose of BS.
I did my homework last night, like you asked. Kind of, partially. I watched Crash on Netflix.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Okay, so I watched that. Okay, first of all, I feel like social media was made for somebody like me, somebody who's old enough and bored enough to, every time I see like at least 3 videos of people talking about a show, I'm like, let me watch this because I have all the time in the world. And I did. I literally watched it at Equinox as I was working out. I'm sure people were like, what is this bitch doing? Like, you know that machine that your legs go in it, like, you know, for your inner and outer thighs, you know, that you don't want to make eye contact with people. I watched that movie as I was doing these sets. Equinox, then
You were on there for an hour and a half?
Well, I usually am at the gym for a good hour, yeah.
I know you were using that machine though for an hour and a half?
No, but that was like one of the
like,
machines where I was like, should I put my phone down? Because this machine is awkward as it is. Do I really need to also people be passing by thinking this lady's watching a whole movie
Yes.
while she's working out? And then I watched the rest of it at home. It was very fascinating. I actually knew the story. I remember when it came out because you know me and true crimes. I feel like I was
this.
I feel like I was a serial killer in my past because if somebody dies, I'm gonna watch it. Yeah.
So if people are not familiar with the story, when did this happen?
You know, I don't know. Let me look. I think
it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
I mean, that girl's been in jail for a while. Let me ask AI, my best friend, who's also getting me through my burns right now. Tyler was like, how are you healing? And I said, oh, my AI and I send it a picture every day and it tells me what to do. The Crash documentary on Netflix. When did the actual events take place? Let me see. It's had to have been years ago, but I remember when it came out because it was shocking that somebody would do that. Oh, 2022. You were pretty right, like 3 years ago.
So if someone's not familiar with what happened, what is the story?
Okay, so what it was is back in 2023, we now know. 2022. Oh gosh, I obviously 2022. This girl, what was her name? Her name was Mackenzie Sharilla, was driving her Toyota Camry with her boyfriend, Dominique, and their other passenger, I believe his name was Davian, who was a friend of theirs, right? And she crashed head on into a building, okay? Like going 90-something miles an hour.
Pedal to the metal,
crash into a building, right? So they found her and her boyfriend and the friend Dominique, or Damien, is that his name?
Yep.
I believe Damien. And the police did, and the 2 male passengers were dead on arrival. Like they were on the scene, could not be revived. And I think most of the impact, if I remember correctly from the documentary, were on their sides.
Well, the car split in half.
I mean, it was crazy. And the guys, the police officer said they've never seen anything like this before in their life. And somehow, miraculously, she made it. And so she gets to the hospital, and it's really kind of crazy because you see the police in real time. They have videos of them telling her parents and then the boy's parents, and it's insane. And they have everybody in the documentary as well, which is kind of interesting. So she's in the hospital, and she's has a ton of internal damage and broke a bunch of things, but she is awake and can speak. And she says, now I don't know if she does or not, but she claims that she remembers nothing after they get in the car and when the crash happens. So, they're saying it's convenient. What is it whenever you lose your...
Just has concussion?
No, convenient. Whenever you have no memory. Whenever you... Oh, Trey.
Dementia? What?
Oh, anyways, loss of memory. There's a name for it. Anyways, they're saying it's very convenient for her. But they were well, you can't really fight with somebody who says they have no recollection of anything. So she is like getting better out of the hospital.
Mind you, she's like a senior in high school.
Yeah, she's a senior in high school. I think they just had their graduation. So I think they were just finishing up their senior year, if I'm not mistaken, from the beginning. And there were weird things that like were going on that people thought, this is interesting. Like a week
and there
after,
were two boys that went to the police, I think, and they first tipped him off, right?
Well, but even the parents, like on social media, like she was, I guess like really reaching out to a lot of brands. And I think like a week after, like she's in this major car accident and like two people, one of which she was living with and a boyfriend for 4 years, and her other friend died. Like somebody reached out asking if they could use one of her pictures like on Instagram or something. And then her mom was like, "Oh my gosh, she would love a brand deal so much. Did you not see this part?"
No. Okay.
Oh
I had to stop watching
Trey.
this. I had to stop watching it because it was like, I don't know, 9:30 at night, and I was like, if I finish this, this is gonna happen in my dreams, and I need to sleep tonight.
So this is like maybe a week after there's a picture of her with this, wearing this clothing. I'd never heard of the brand, but I don't know. And I think she had tagged them, and then the brand, you know how sometimes they'll go on your social media and say, "Oh, we love this.
Yeah.
Can we use this picture?" Right? And her mom responded first and was like, "Oh my gosh, my daughter loves your clothing thing, and she's been wanting to work with your brand forever, and she just was in a major car accident, but I know she would love to work with you, and yes, she can use her picture." And then the daughter gets on like shortly after and is like, "Oh my gosh, I would love to work with you so much. I've been wanting to do a partnership with you guys." And I'm like, that is so freaking weird. So I get it. Like they were like, it's a little, like the other parents were like, it's a little heartless. Like she's over here dressing up for Halloween as like zombie or whatever. And our
kids are dead.
Yeah, our kids are dead. And then she's like living her best life. It looks like she's trying to get brand deals. She's like on TikTok. She's doing all these things. Claims she has no recollection of anything still. She did reach out to both the parents and apologize, and like their siblings. But the cops obviously are going to do their job and look at everything. And I guess in the car, it's like, a black box on the police.
Like a plane.
Yeah, like a plane. And they can see exactly what your car's done, right? So in that, they noticed that at one point she was going like 97 miles an hour. So pedal to the metal. But they also noticed that during this time where she was like going crazy with her driving, that somebody was trying to take the steering wheel, was trying to like go like, to steer the other way.
So she had recently turned a corner though.
Yes.
And they really analyzed this video of her turning a corner, and she turned it fine. There were no issues, wasn't going fast, wasn't out of control. She turned the corner with ease, and then she put the pedal all the way down. The car shifted from drive to neutral back to drive.
Yeah, numerous times. It almost gave the investigators, and they also found that there was nothing wrong with the car. So it gave the investigators pause, because they were like, it seemed to them that she was erratic and acting crazy. And the boys were trying to save themselves, like trying to get control of the steering wheel, trying to put the car in neutral, trying to find a way to save themselves, because I'm sure that they were like, oh my gosh. So then it became, okay, was this girl trying to pretty much kill everybody in the car, including herself? And what really, really happened? And long story short, there is a whole investigation, and she gets arrested, and then there's a whole court case, and I will let you watch from there. Wait 1 second, we'll be right back. The interesting thing is that in it, you have the parents, I feel like, are a lot of the problem, as normal. If your child's a horrible person and does horrible things, they
pissed me off.
It's like, they are crazy. I mean, watching this, like, she was a kid that had a lot of problems and got in a lot of trouble at school. And instead of the parents going and being like, working with the school, okay, there's obviously a problem. I mean, if everybody has a problem with one person, usually the common denominator is who you need to look at. But the parents didn't. They were always like, the dad said he would walk in and ask her, did you do it? And she would say no. And he could just tell when and if his daughter was lying. And then I think her parents kind of tried to be a friend instead of a parent, which is like the worst thing you can do, and kind of created a little bit of a entitled monster. So, but the parents blew me away because even in this documentary, they weren't like...
They were 10 toes down.
Oh my gosh. They were like, she is amazing. She would... I don't know. When all the evidence says different, I would be like, what the heck? I mean, I don't know. I'd be like, let's get you some like therapies where we can try to hypnotize you and figure out what really happened, because it's crazy. So even now they are like 10 toes down for her. And watching the documentary, if I had to put money on something, all evidence does point to her, probably, in my opinion, if I'd put money down, I would say that she
intentionally crashed the car. Well, and there was someone that came forward. It was a friend or a sibling or someone that said that a few weeks prior, they had a voice recording of her threatening to crash the car.
Yeah. So
this had not been off the table entirely prior to this.
Yeah. And the mom of the boy who passed away, her boyfriend, had looked on his phone and had a recording of her trying to get in the house whenever they were in a fight. I just feel like it was it was not like a great relationship, a healthy relationship. And so I don't know. It's really sad that things like that even happen, but I think you hear about it. I think there was somebody else I heard about too back in the day that kind of did the same thing, who crashed. I think it was another girl who was on the phone. This was years ago with her boyfriend. And he was going to break up with her. And she was like, I am not going to live without you. And she crashed her car purposely into another car, woke up with amnesia. That's what I was asked. That's what I was saying, amnesia. And did not remember it, but actually ran into another car and killed the passenger in the other car. So, I mean, this is not, even though it's shocking that somebody would do it, it's not like the first time something like this has ever been done.
There was a girl in Dallas about a year ago. I think they were early 20s. Her boyfriend had been saving up and had just bought a new car. And she did not know that there was a dash camera inside because he was going to start ride sharing with this car. And he was driving down 75 and Walnut Hill, and she saw some girl's name pop up on his car, saying that he had a message, and she grabbed the wheel and flipped the car.
Oh my
He hadn't even gotten insured yet. And he was just like, my new car. And she was like, well, you shouldn't be texting other girls.
Oh.
And he was like, that's my sister.
Oh, shit.
And she was like, oh. And she was arrested for attempted murder.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. I just don't let your kids be crazy is kind of the moral to the story. But also.
Yeah, that dad though. Oh.
Yeah, he was a lot. Him and the mom kind of drove me a little crazy because I was like, y'all are a big part of the problem. Because I feel like there were so many signs that she was. Well,
he was letting his daughter do drugs in the house.
Yes, he was like, "Well, I'd rather her smoke weed than anything else." And I'm like, she's a high schooler. At some point, I don't know. I kind of feel the same way with there's a lot of parents that you see that just let their kids get wasted at their house, and I'm like, I just don't understand that. I mean, my kids are gonna have to sneak it. I'm never gonna be like, here's a shot. Let's go party together. It's just kind of weird. But I think that he wanted to be a friend, and you see this a lot, more than he wanted to be a parent. And your kids have a million friends out there, and they do not need another friend. I want my kids. I want to have a good relationship with my kids, but I also want to have a healthy relationship with my kids. Yeah. And Travis and I are the bosses, and if we can be friends, if they're doing well, but if they're not, I think it's our responsibility to step in and guide them in a way that, is better for society and whoever they marry one day. And, I don't know. It just is really crazy.
Yeah. It's very sad.
But, I'm from a really small town, and I went to school in my early years in another, even smaller town, that's right next door. And I remember, some people that I went to school with who, when I was in Coweta, I would hear of this other town that I was actually raised in, like kids that I knew, girls that I knew, like 14, 15 years old, where their parents were letting them move their boyfriends in. And I was like, what in the world? That's just crazy to me. I was like, what in the world? I mean, my dad was, kind of strict. I wasn't even allowed to have a boyfriend until I was 16. Like I really wasn't. Like if like a boyfriend where I like ever did anything with, or I guess I could have one at school that I say, this is my boyfriend, but
there were no dates outside of
outside of school, like seeing each other in the hallways. No way. And I always thought that's kind of strict. But then on the opposite end, I knew girls whose, at 14 and 15, whose parents let their boyfriends move in with them. And then they were shocked when they got pregnant at 15, 16. I was like, what? Like, who knew? And what's really sad is a lot of these girls that I knew that were really smart, like one girl whose parents let her boyfriend move in with her was super smart, like straight A student. And her parents just wanted to be her best friend. And her boyfriend moved in. And I think he was kind of from a bad family. So they were like, oh, come live with us. And of course, when he lives there, you can't be there. Of course, they're going to do things they shouldn't do, right? And she got pregnant, never, didn't end up graduating from high school. And, it's just like, I just feel like as a parent, your job is to make good decisions for you, help guide your children, not like, oh, this is a horrible idea. Let's see what happens. And then be shocked whenever your kid kind of ruins their life. And now, this girl is barely making it. And I think she was one of those girls that really could have been something. Mm-hmm. But, her parents, I don't know. Anyways, long story short, you got a parent.
About a year ago, we were at dinner with my dad and stepmom and some of their friends, and their friends were saying that they are just now bringing alcohol back in the house now that all their kids are gone. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, oh, well, we never had alcohol in our house when our kids, up until they all moved out. And my dad was like, yeah, we were the same way. Just because we didn't want you to see something you couldn't have, because that was going to make you want it. So we just never had alcohol around. And I was like, huh, because I did not have my first sip of alcohol until I was 21, and Stephanie shoved it down my throat.
Yes, I didn't have my first drink until I was going into college at 18. I dated a guy and we went to a party and I had my first beer at that party.
I had no desire to drink though either, because it wasn't something I saw that I couldn't have. And I was like, that's very interesting. Just the psychology behind that. And it worked. I did not want alcohol when I was in high school. I didn't really want it when I was in college. I still don't really want it now.
Yeah. I could do without alcohol too, but I don't like the way it makes me feel. Mm-hmm. However, I do think that there is a fine line. I was raised Pentecostal and my parents were very religious. I remember being very young and not being able to listen to any music other than Jesus music, which is fine, but not really. I think they kind of took it a little too far. I remember listening to, I don't know, it was Boys II Men or something. It was some song. I don't even know. Maybe it said something about sex. I'm sure it had a bad word or said something about sex in it. And I remember my mom coming up to me and being like, would Jesus like this music that you're listening to? And I was like, well, I like it. And everybody at school listened to cool music, and I always felt like I had to hide. I did not like that. So I think that's a little overboard. I've told my parents this. I'm like, I just think sometimes it's okay to, and even with guys and stuff, I felt like I had to kind of figure it out myself because I really didn't have a lot of guidance from my parents. This is how, this is how relationships work. This is how, the good and the bad of the honesty of life. I didn't know a lot of things. And drinking, I did not know beer and, I was so naive. I didn't realize, you can't have 3 shots and not feel like shit. And, I felt like I had to learn a lot of things the hard way in college. Because I never really learned those in life.
But how are they supposed to teach you that?
I don't know, but I talk to my kids. Chance is almost 17 and I talk to him all the time about hey, as an adult, beer is very different than taking shots. You can, I want him to know for me, you can you can monitor how you're feeling with even a cocktail, but with shots, you don't really know how you're feeling. And I said, and I tell him the truth. I'm like, the worst thing is like sometimes you wake up and you can't remember the day before if you like are overserved or if you take it too far. And that's horrible because then you like have little pieces coming back to you, So I just want him to know. Yeah, you have like anxiety, and I would rather him know the consequences before he has the consequences of this could happen for me than to go out and learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have had that. I've gotten in the car with people in college. Like I was never the girl to drive drunk because I was always a horrible driver and I was always terrified of my dad and everybody. But I'm not going to lie and say when I was in college, I did not get into a car with people I should not have gotten into cars with who had something, and I think if you don't have those conversations with your kids, like something that's really simple and stupid, like I literally have the dumbest conversations, like, then they don't know any better. Like, I'm like, I would rather, also I'm not so naive to think that my 16-year-old, almost 17-year-old, possibly not going to go to a party and have a beer or two. And he's driving right now. So I'm not going to be like, you are perfect. I am just going to believe you're perfect. So I tell him, if you have 1 beer, 2 beers, like anything, like Uber, I will never get mad at you if you do not have your car the next day, but I will get mad at you if you drive while under any alcohol because first of all, you have your daddy's credit card. There's no excuse. Just, like you have a way.
Get and also, an Uber,
yes, like there's no excuse not to take an Uber. You have an app and we will not be mad at you. I will be mad at you if I ever hear that you drive home under the influence of anything, even 1 beer, like no way. But I think if you don't have those talks with your parents or your kids and they think, oh, I can't drink. And if I Uber, I'm going to be in trouble because my parents are going to know that I'm drinking. Then they can make really, really bad decisions because they're more scared of you than the real consequences.
Parents make sneaky kids.
Yeah. I mean, they do. And I think that there's a balance. And I'm not saying I have a perfect balance, but I have probably.
You do have a good balance, though. I feel like there's a good balance between you and Travis. All right, we got to take a break real quick, but we will be right back. Yeah, I do feel like you have a good balance, though.
Thanks, Trey.
Between, like, you get a good amount of information on a cruise, and Travis probably gets enough information on a chance to where you can get the whole story together, and then you're like, all right, we got this.
Yeah, I mean, Chance is very, like, he tells his dad probably much more than he tells me about things, because I think he's like, oh, Dad, he'll not, Travis is really great about people not feeling like they're being judged, where I feel like I'm a little bit too judgy. I'm like, ooh, that's a bad choice. Where Travis, I think, is probably much better. Like, if the kids make a decision, I mean, he's really, I remember one year, like 3rd grade.
He's almost a little too lenient, to be honest. Like,
no, I'm like, but I remember one year in 3rd grade, Cruz made a bad decision. Like, he was in a group chat, like using curse words and stuff, thinking he was funny and things that I don't even know if he knew what half the words meant. And I found out, and I was like, and I literally made him sit there and write apology notes to every single person in that group thread, because I was like, first of all, I know all their parents look at these threads, but also I was like, this is a great
what did he say?
Situation.
Wasn't it something like,
I don't even, but it was like 3rd grade, but it was just like,
it was something like, you ain't shit.
Oh, it was something.
But then Travis is like, well, those kids ain't shit. So that's why he said that.
That did happen. And Travis was 10 toes down with him. And I was like, you know what? this is the one time I really did agree. And the teacher was even like, okay, so COVID, I think Cruz was it was like 2nd and 3rd grade mix at the school he goes to. They do mixed classrooms. So, like 1st and 2nd are together, and I think 2nd and 3rd, and I believe he was 2nd and 3rd mix, and he was the only 2nd grader in this thing. And when you're in 2nd and 3rd grade, that's a big difference, age-wise, but especially maturity-wise, right? Mm-hmm. And he was so lonely. It was COVID, so we were all just, at our homes on our computers, and since he was the youngest and another class, he was very lonely, and none of the kids would really give him a chance because he was the baby, and they had all known each other forever. So the teacher was like, they were doing some like like silly party, even though they were at home, but they were going to plan this party. It was kind of, I don't even understand it now looking back. And the teacher so the teacher had all the kids split up into like 3 or 4 different groups, right? And Cruz was in this group and with, I think, 2 or 3 other boys that were in 3rd grade. And again, he was 2nd grader. And they were supposed to be planning their party and then get back together as a class and then give all their really great ideas. So the kids were giving their ideas and the teacher can kind of pop in and out of each of these conversations, but without the kids knowing. So the teacher popped in right as this were going into the conversation, right as this was going on. And so the other boys were giving like their opinion on what would be fun for the party. And then Cruz starts trying to give his opinion on what would be fun for the party. And then the boys start saying, like pretty much like, shut up, you're a baby. Nobody cares what you have to say. And then Cruz says they were making fun of him about being a baby. And then Cruz says, you shut up or I'm going to kick the shit out of you. And then, so the teacher got on to him and the other boys and told Travis and I what happened. And then Travis was the one that first spoke up. And I was like, you know what? This is the one time I'm going to say I agree. And he was like, listen, if he is going to be, first of all, he should not be in a class with all older kids at 2nd grade. And also Travis is like, if he is getting picked on and made fun of because of his age by older kids, I want him to stand up for himself. I don't want him just to sit and take it. I think that's important thing in life is to stand up for yourself. And the teacher actually agreed with us and backed off and did not get on to Cruz, but the other kids, I don't know. They couldn't get, what could they get expelled? They were at home. I mean, like, right. I don't know, but
that was such a wild time.
That was like the one time I was like, okay, I totally agreed with that.
Having a 2nd grader do 2nd grade work at home on a computer, just thinking back to COVID, what a wild time.
It was very special. I remember Chance and Cruz both, but I remember especially Chance, he had to do PE at home. Like it sounded like elephants up there. He'd have to like do jumping jacks and do all of it was a really crazy time.
Everyone was just, it
feels like
best.
a fever dream. Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does. And then you have the Hypnovirus or whatever it was.
Oh no, I forget what that thing's called.
I don't know, whatever that's at sea, which I think is fake.
Oh, no, there's no way.
Yes, I do. There is not enough information from people on the ship that makes that.
People died.
See, who? We haven't seen a photo. We don't have names. We don't have anything. And all of a sudden, it's just not talked about anymore.
I don't know.
And we let them off the ship?
Yeah.
That sounds silly.
There was one guy that was on the ship that was...
There's one guy on the ship that's posted a TikTok. One person. In the golden age of social media, we have one person on the ship posting on social media. That's very weird.
My theory is he got so much like snarky remarks that everyone else was like, "Oh, no, I'm not doing it."
No, not a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Seems suspicious to me. That's all I'm saying.
I will say, like, we live in a very special age of TikTok where whenever this was going on, how do I not remember the name? If you would not say the name, it's not the HEPA virus. I will tell you that much right now. It's something else.
It was like the HEPA something.
I forget what it's called. Oh my gosh, I should know this.
I don't want to know because I don't want it to be real. I don't want to have to know.
Yes. But whenever it was happening, people, TikTok, the younger crowd is very special. And they do crack me up because I'm a very immature person. And the stuff that they were saying is so freaking funny. Like they would have it. Hold on, I have to. This is so bad.
No, the comments were... The
comments were so like of this. People would do this ship. Hold on, I know I saved it because I was like, I was like, what is... I'm too immature for this. Is this it?
Someone was like, these people said they want to...
The thing is it's the ship, and somebody said, we want to come home. And then people said, baby, y'all are home. And the comments are... So the comments were, it's so ridiculous. And, quote, we want to come home. And they said, baby, that's the virus talking. And then someone else said, oh my gosh, where's the iceberg when you need it? I'm like, y'all are so bad. Like, who in the world? It's the hantavirus, but everybody thinks it's fake except for me. I'm like, I feel like it's a real thing.
I just find
and everyone's
odd.
Like making fun of this whole situation on TikTok, which is, probably a bunch of high schoolers, but
I just find it odd that
And then somebody said
got a disease from rat urine. And then also, this just got missed. There's like clips of this on TikTok of some like ex-CIA agents testifying that COVID was built in a lab in the US, and like Fauci did like a test run with like COVID. Him and Johnson & Johnson kind of ran through it in 2018, and then it just happened to like come to fruition in 2020. It's very odd.
Here's the difference between Trey and I, if you guys have not noticed. Like Trey, if there is what is those like little theories, those like conspiracy theory out there, Trey is going to believe it.
Well, I don't think they're really far-fetched.
And then I will tend to believe anything. I'm like,
because
why would somebody
the stuff
lie?
that happens in the world, I'm like, that's not just normal. Like, I remember when COVID was like an isolated incident in China, and it's like, well, it won't come over here. And then all of a sudden, everyone has it. And so now we're taking people from this ship in the middle of the ocean and we're dispersing them to New Jersey and to Texas and Virginia, those other countries. That doesn't make sense. Why would that, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
One of the people that is being isolated, I think they're in Nebraska, they spoke to the U.S. media and they were like, honestly, this is better than being at home. They're taking really great care of me.
That one guy, is that who you're talking about?
I don't know if that was him.
I've only seen one guy on the ship who's talked, and he showed his quarantine place that he's staying, and he had a bicycle there. And anyway, I believe it's a real thing. But I could be the only one, because I feel like everybody else, I mean, they're very
I just feel like the government and the media is always lying to us because they are in some sense. Like, anyways, well, on that note, we got to go.
Yes. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening and supporting. You can follow me at Steph Holman on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
You can follow me at Trey_Stewart. You can follow our podcast at BS the Podcast. You can watch us on YouTube at Weekly Dose of BS. Bye.